This is Building a Blog with Rails 5 and Bootstrap 4 Part 12. In the last episode, I added this account link in the author section, and today we're going to fill that out and make it where an author can edit things like their name, email, password, just some basic things, and then we're going to use that information to flesh the site out just a little bit more. In the future, we may do some more advanced things like let them connect their social media accounts and things like that and pull extra information from there, but we'll leave that for another day. So, without further ado, let's jump back to the code and let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to need, as always, so let's talk through this really quickly. So we have an account link that doesn't go anywhere, but we want it to. Just to give you a refresher, if you're new, we're going to need a route, controller action, and a view. So let's just start there. I always do some kind of sanity test when I'm doing anything virtually. So this is going to go in the blog section. So we'll say get, actually no, I'm wrong, just kidding. It's going to go in the authors section, and we'll say get account, and we would like to go probably to, let's see if we have any existing controllers that this would make sense for. Probably not. We can just make like an account controller or an accounts controller. Edit might be fine. You can kind of name these things however you like, and I haven't really thought about it too much yet. So let's call it that for the moment. So let's create a new, so we've got this. Now if I go back and I were to, sorry for the bouncing around. If I open up my nav bar, I need to wire this up. Let's call this, so we're going to name this, so we should be able to say as account. Now let's see what this, looks like. So you can run Rails routes, and then so let me show you a couple things really quick while we're here. So you can just run Rails routes, and it's going to tell us all the routes. And we don't have a lot, so it's pretty easy to like find it. So what we're looking for is this author's account. Another trick you can do if you're not used to the terminal is you can add a pipe symbol, and you can say grep account, and it's going to just find the words. It's kind of like doing just a text search here on account, and so it's going to pull back everything that has the word account in it. Alright, cool. So our path is author's account at this point. So now I can say, let's see. No, that's fine. That's fine. So we can say link to account, author's account, cannot type this morning, path, or talk. Okay, so if we go back and we refresh, if we hover over this, now this is pointing to author's account, which if I click it, is going to tell me there's no author's controller, or accounts controller rather. So I glossed over one thing I just wanted to point out here. So this as account addition, what this does is it gives this method author's account path. If you were to do this, if you were to bump this out here outside of this namespace, it would just be account path. But since we have it inside this namespace, it prefixes it with the word authors. Okay, so let's get back to business. So uninitialized constant, authors, accounts controller. So what we're going to do here is basically just follow the errors for a little while. So in the authors section, I'm going to create a new controller. We're going to call it accounts controller. You could make the argument that since we're dealing with one account at a time, potentially that you could call it the account controller. That's not the Rails convention, and I tend to prefer the plural. If you wanted to call it account controller, the one difference you would need is to take away the S in the routes. And then when we name our view folder, you would need to call it account instead of accounts, just in case you decide you want to do it that way. So I'm sticking to the plural, and we'll get going. So what did we inherit from our pose controller? Author controller. Perfect. Author controller. I need to put this inside of a module. Authors. Tap that in, and we should be good to go. Now, at this point, we've pretty much satisfied this error. So nesting that accounts controller inside the module is what gives us this syntax ultimately. So let's save this. We can refresh, and it's going to give us a different error. The action edit could not be found. Okay, so now so I added this action. That's what that's called when it's in a controller. If I refresh, it's going to tell me it doesn't have a view or something. The template is missing. Now, I get some comments sometimes. It's like, oh my gosh, the error, I can't understand it. Calm down, read the error. There are some confusing words in here if you're not used to it, but like once you see this a couple times, like even if Rails changes the way they say it, you should understand what it means when it says like, hey, a template is missing. Now you don't necessarily probably know what a request format or variant and then request.formats is right now, but like I think if you just calm down and read it, you can see like the word template is right here. Maybe it has something to do with the view. I'm not saying don't ask questions, I'm just saying like important piece is calm down and read the error message. It's red, it seems like it's screaming at you, but it's okay. So we don't have a template. So in our authors folder, like I just said a minute ago, we're going to create a new folder called accounts. And in here, we're going to create a new file, edit.html.erb. Alright, at this point, if I refresh, I should get a blank screen. Yep. So what we're going to do now is set up two forms on this page. On the left side, we're going to have some basic info like your name and email. And on the right side, we're going to have a reset or change password. I guess it's not technically a reset, it's just a change password. So, first thing, let's open up the form that we did. And I'm just going to do this to get the layout correct. I want the same essential styling that we did in the, let me just copy this whole thing. This is from when we were creating or editing a post. So I don't want any of this. Let me make sure I don't, no, I don't. Now where am I? I need this. Yeah, I want that to be 6. I don't necessarily want to have, okay, let me say find f.text field, and we're going to replace them for the moment with text field tag. Replace all, and then find, you know what, let's just, I think I can just do label tag, but let me make sure. I'm not 100% sure about that. I'm going to delete everything after that. Don't want this here. I don't want any of this. Missing a div here. Let's see if this breaks. Probably will. Undefined method F. Text field tag. Okay, something is going screwy there, but okay. I think I can just pass nil in. Yeah. Okay, so that looks kind of how I want. Then we're gonna add a div. I think it's card title, and just test that this looks right, kind of. Maybe that needs to be inside a card block. Yeah, okay, so maybe I can just take that away now. That's okay for now. I'm not super worried about it. So let's get this stuff to actually mean what we want it to mean right now. So right now we're going to call this basic info. We're going to call this name. We're going to actually change a lot of this later. Email. Call that an email field tag. This we want to be, let's just call this bio. And we'll make this a text area. And we'll see what that looks like. Name, email, and bio. Is there something else I wanted to add? I don't think so. Not for now. Okay. The next thing I want to do is add a change password option. So I'm going to copy exactly what I just did. Put it there. I'm going to do leave a comment, change password section. And we'll make this basic info section. I don't really need to do that, but I like to sometimes kind of make things a little more clear. Label tag, current password. And this one will just be password, new password, and this will be new password. Actually, let's call this current here too. And that needs to be a text. Actually, all of these need to be password fields. Need to fix that. Okay, so, and then here, we'll say new password confirmation. Let's see what this looks like. Current password, new password. So if I type, just get dots, okay. And then this I want to say. So we've got some like decent looking forms here. So right now these fields don't actually go anywhere. So we want to do that. So I'm going to start with the basic info one. So just under where I put basic info section, I'm going to say form tag. So if you've done any other Rails, and I don't know if we did it in this series or not, but there's different form helpers. So you can do form for and then like add account or author or whatever you may have called the variable if we had that set up that way, but we're going to do things slightly different. So kind of a slightly less fancy version of this is to say form tag. So we can say form tag, and we'll say authors info path do that. Then we need to tab all of that in and then add an end tag. Now let's just stop there and let's go refresh the page and let's follow the errors again. Undefined local variable or method authors info path. And then it's going to suggest some things to us, which is kind of nice, but we don't want to follow that. So back in our routes, I'm going to say put, and we're doing put because this is an update. Account, nope, info, accounts, and I'm going to call this just update as info. That's strange. Let's call this update info. That feels a little better to me. Okay, so let's save this, and now we're back. And then I'm going to do, I don't want that open anymore. I'm going to add another form tag here. Form tag for authors password path. Alright, so we will, where does that div end? There. Tab all of that in. And same deal, let's follow the error. Author's password path, just like we would think. I'm going to copy this, put password, and then we'll call this update password as password. Now if I refresh, we should be ready to rock. Okay, so now what? Let's try to submit one of these forms. So first of all, I don't need the nav bar open. First of all, in my edit page, let's just go back to the basic info. I'm going to add another list, class equals list group item, and then we'll say submit tag update info class, and we'll give it a btn, I don't know, maybe primary. See what that looks like. We need to update those colors in the future so that all of our color scheme matches, but that's okay for now. So let's just say that, and one nice thing, I think, if I leave that, oh nope, it's not doing the validations automatically like I would like. So if I click this button, it's going to say no route matches post, and that is because I left off something here. So we need to say method put, which tells it, hey, send it to the put action. So if I need to refresh now. Oh, when I try to submit, it throws the error I was looking for. So now if I try to update, it's going to say the action update info cannot be found. Okay. So I'm just going to throw a binding.pry in here, which will stop it. So if I refresh, you can just resubmit the form, and you'll see it'll spin forever. So you have to go check back in your terminal, and you can see we're stuck here. So if I type params, if we look through here, you'll see our parameters coming through. Name, ASDF, email, ASDF, at ASDF.ASDF, file, ASDF. So technically we could work with these. However, we're going to, so let me actually just talk you through this really quickly. So when you throw a text field tag in here like this, and you give it this name, it creates a parameter name with whatever value type in the field when it comes through. So that's why you have this just bare name. It's kind of wrapped around, but same thing for email. What we're going to do is, for security reasons, and this is kind of, we're not going with the most conventional setup here, but we're still trying to stick to the normal Rails things. So there's another thing we can do called fields for author. And I saw this for a long time when I started developing, and it used to confuse the crap out of me. So I'm showing it here so you can kind of get a better understanding than I ever had. So now with that one change, well, actually not with that one change, I have to say f dot, so I need, first of all, I need to give that a variable, and we'll say f dot in front of all these things. So we took that away because it would break earlier, but this will work. So if we take now we don't need the tag, so this is just some syntax stuff that you have to learn. If you don't have a form object, this f, then you need the word tag at the end. If you do have a form object, you just call f dot whatever, or whatever. I mean, you could call this x, and then you change all those to x, but the standard way you see it is f. So, and then we need f dot submit. So let's go back, refresh. Okay, so also those tag helpers accept a different number of arguments, which is why I had to add that nil. So now it should work. Okay, so if I say I'm going to need an @ sign, so now I'm still going to get stuck in the pry, and if I look at the params, so what you'll notice that's different is now we have, it's still wrapped around in an unfortunate place, but we have author, and then inside of author there's a hash with name, email. So like if I do params author, you get this action controller parameters name ASDF email. So now we can do something kind of cool here. We can say back in our controller, author parameters. So we'll say params.require author. So what that does is it requires anything in this specific method to have that author key on the outside. And then we'll say permit name, email, and bio for now. So let's go back here. Am I out of there, or what happened? Okay, so we do this one more time. Now I'm going to be stuck, and I should be able to say author params. Undefined method, author params. Did I do something screwy? Probably. Author parameters. Okay, so you get that. We're going to rename them to be params because that's not standard to call it parameters. But what you get out of it is you get exactly what we're looking for here, and it says they're permitted. So this is a security feature in Rails called strong parameters. I'm not going to go too deep into that right now, but in a nutshell, now you know how that works. It requires you to have that external. You can take a look at the actual params really quick over here. So so the require is talking about this author key. I wish I would quit wrapping in that spot, but that's okay. So anyway, now you kind of have an idea how that works. And if you don't, you know how to go investigate it with pry. So, let's see here. So, what's next? We're going to add the update password. So I'm going to do the same exact thing down here. So we'll say fields for author do F. We will tab all of this in and get it straightened up. And then I need to change, let's do find tag and replace with nothing. And then let's say F dot in front of all these things. And then I'm also going to need this here. And on the change password, I'm going to change this to warning. And I'm going to say change password. Alright, I got something. Undefined method. Oh, it's because I took away the word tag. And that is the danger of replace all. Wrong number of arguments, which is the same thing from earlier. Now we should be good. Okay, so now if I try this, that was weird. I was not expecting that. Author's password path. I wonder if I am messing with something in... That's peculiar. So let me try to just fix this. I would like to have some kind of error message that I'm dealing with here. That's really weird. So let's go look at the server. Aha! So you can see here started put author's password. And it says processing by device passwords controller, which tells me that this is already taken as a route by device, which also tells me we may be recreating the wheel here a little bit, but that's okay. So I'm going to change this to be change password as change password. And we can make this match since we're doing all of them. And then we'll say author's change password path, which is not bad. Okay, for refresh, nothing is broken. And the action, change password. Okay, that's what I was expecting. So we had a conflict there with devise. Okay, so let's refresh this, and the action author's accounts controller. So I just put that there, right? Action change password cannot be found. Did I misspell it? Accounts controller. Okay, so now it's fine. It doesn't do anything, but it's fine. Okay, so if we go back to our controller, so I did something here that's kind of standard, and I'm just thinking about it, and I don't know if this is a great idea or not yet, but I'm going to change this to be author info params. And then I'm going to say for the password situation, I'm going to say author password params. And we'll say params.require author permit current password, new password, and new password confirmation. Okay, so if I put a pry in here and I submit some stuff, if I say author password params, so I get this separate. Now you could put them, you could technically put these guys in this top one and just call it author params, but because I know what I'm going to be doing with them, I feel a little bit better like this. Okay, so let's try to make this work, and I'm going to continue with my follow the errors approach. So if I say current author, which we should have from devise, so the update info, I should be able to say update author info params. Okay, so I want to update, and then I want to, what was our route we made? Account path, and then we just want to redirect to author, or author's account path. So simple, probably not the best implementation. You want to throw some like error handling in there or something. I need to quit pry, I think, somewhere. Anyway, let's just throw some stuff in here. It's going to throw an error because it doesn't know about our attributes. So let's check our schema. So the schema is going to tell you everything about an author that exists. Actually, it just shows you the attributes in your tables, so you can always come here and look at this. So we don't have bio, we do have name. I forgot that we had name, which is interesting. So we need to add bio. So we'll come over here and we'll say Rails G migration, add bio to authors. Now the only piece of this that matters is this last word, authors. If it matches the name of a table in your database, this will happen automatically. You don't have to really go write anything out. And we just want to say bio text, which text is like a longer form of string in this case. So once this generates, we just need to run it. Okay. So, and you can see our schema updated automatically. So now we have text bio here. Okay, so let's try this. So my name, email, and my bio. I like to do code stuff, and we'll update, and nothing prints out. All right, let's check our database. Rails C, probably the first author. Yep, and you can see that the info is what I just entered, minus the bio, which is strange. Huh. Let's check our terminal here. Put, okay, interesting. All right, so what do? first thing we want to do is figure out why that stuff's not showing up in the fields. So in the password, we won't do what we're about to do because that would be a bad idea. But here, we want to actually give this a value and say current author dot name. And then we'll say the same for email and bio. And what this will do is print this in those fields. Now, I don't know why my bio is not saving. That's kind of wonky. Oh, I know why. So when you add a migration, you have to restart your server because it doesn't pick up that it knows about it. That can be confusing. So I like to code. That's fine. And now if we clearly refreshed and we have our data here. Alright, cool. So, and I'm going to get something a little longer for that. Bio. Snack wave sounds pretty cool. Alright, and then let's see, so let's hook up our password situation. So, change password. Let's throw another pry in here. Trick is I don't remember my password. So if I enter in some stuff, let's check our params. What do we call this? New pass author. I think it's called author password params maybe. Yeah. So I'm gonna say pass info equals underscore, so that's easier to type. Pass info current password. Okay, so to get this to work, we basically have to do a couple things with some devise built-in methods. So we can do current password, sorry, current author dot valid password question mark, and then pass in what we just did. So underscore will grab the last thing that was returned. So that valid password method is really handy for checking if somebody typed in a valid password. So if I think my password might be just password locally. So yeah. Okay, so now that you see how that works, let's go back to the code. So what we're going to do is say pass info equals author password params. You don't need to do that if you don't want to. That's just a little, I like to have less to type. So if we say if current author dot valid password pass info current password. If that's true, we want to do current author dot update, and we'll say password pass info new password, and then password confirmation pass info new password confirmation. I guess I'm going to split this onto multiple lines because that's really ugly and long like that. And I guess since I'm doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and put this here. I don't need that. So if current author has a valid password. We're going to update the password. Okay, so let's try it. So if I come back here, I need to quit something here probably. No, I'm good. So I'm going to type password and then password 2. I need to refresh this screen. So password and password 2. This is not an episode on creating secure passwords. If I change it, alright, I didn't do anything afterwards, but let's check our server. Seems like it worked out. For now, I'm going to add this redirect here. Let's log out. Okay, so now I need to go to authors, sign in, and I changed my email to steven@techmaker.tv, and we need to do password 2. And that works. So at this point, technically we have everything we wanted. But this has gotten to be quite a long episode already. It's over 40 minutes, I think. So I'm going to basically have to have a part 2 to part 12. I mean, it's just going to be part 13, I guess. But in the next one, I have a couple of things I want to do. We need to add essentially messaging better. So if you fail to update for some reason, or if you fail to change your password, we need to tell you, and particularly on the password succeeding, we need to tell you that, hey, you successfully changed your password. Kind of basic stuff, but we need to do that. Beyond that, I want to add a Gravatar image. So like when you change your email, I want to be able to go out, get your Gravatar if you have one with your email address, and put your picture underneath whatever your posts are, put your name in here, so we have a little bit of design stuff to do too. Anyway, so stay tuned for that next time. That's all the time I got today. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you later.